what we then call status quo until the final determination of the suit. And that does not disadvantage the Kenyan people, nor does it disadvantage our right to appeal, etc., until we come to the conclusion of a case. Without conservatory orders, then what would happen is exactly what happened with the Kentraco, with the Adani group, where that deal went ahead and could not be stopped because there were no orders. So when I realized that there was this problem from my lawyers on the morning of 9:30 in the morning, I called the leader of the official opposition, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is also representing me in the case, but does not involve himself really on the technical day-to-day issue, and the former Minister for Defense, Eugene Wamalwa. And I informed them that we are in a crisis as a country because the lawyers have absconded, and they have gone, including Kibe Mungai and Wanjiru have gone to Gachagua, where I'm sure, I don't want to say for whatever reasons, I don't want to disparage their name, but they went there and abandoned the matter. And both Kalonzo and Wamalwa shot to the High Court and were there seated an hour before the 11 o'clock hearing. And then when the court sat to hear, Kalonzo explained to the court that he was there on our behalf, on my behalf, and that the case should proceed. And this is then what happened. The court was informed that the other matter of the airport involving the Law Society of Kenya is coming up on the 25th of this month, I think 2 days from now. And that case has already got conservatory orders in favor of LSK, stopping anything from going on with the airport. And that on that 25th, the application before the court to consider will be the constitution of a 3-bench judge, a panel, and therefore the conservatory orders will remain, despite the fact that there will be an application before the court to be decided. And therefore there is no immediate danger to the airport as long as those conservatory orders hold. The court went further to allocate through Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka my petition to go back on the 11th of November 2024, which is about 2 weeks, so is it, or 20 days from now, meaning that those conservatory orders existing in the case of the LSK remain, but on the 11th, I can apply for a second set of conservatory orders in our case, as well as applying to consolidate the case between us and the one of the LSK, so that both orders are made into one and we can hear the matter together. And as long as the conservatory orders remain, then the hearing and the case can go on without Kenyans feeling in any panic that the airport can be disposed of or any contract with Adani can proceed. So as we speak today, no such order, no such deal of Adani can proceed. No such thing can go on as long as the conservatory order enjoyed by the LSK on our behalf remains, and we intend to reinforce it on the 11th of November. So when I say it's a win for us, the court reaffirmed the existence of that conservatory order, and therefore told Kalonzo there was no need to give a separate conservatory order because the other one exists and has not been removed. So I wanted to make that report. Alphonse, what do you say?
Titi, I see Alphonse has dropped, but to add on to what you've said, one of the things that our speaker, our listeners should appreciate is one, it's a lot of work when you go the legal way to fight for Kenya. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of paperwork, and you really have to have back-to-back meetings like we have been doing. But it's also appearing to be a very effective way of really tackling issues in Kenya. So what I would urge Kenyans is, as much as we want to deal with things, we need to have what we are talking about with you, Titi. We need to have a systematic and surgical approach to issues bedeviling in our country. Because if we do not do that, then we end up being scattered all over. But I'm very optimistic, having perused through the Adani case, which we can't talk much about, but it's a very solid case if you look at how the the argument of why Adani should not take over has been structured. One of the things I do know Adani is trying to do to counter us is he's trying to say that Kenya does not have the jurisdiction to take him to court. Okay, so that is something we know that he's trying to say, that according to the deal and how it was crafted, that Kenyans do not have a right to do that. But one of the things he forgets is the minister had said they had no deal. So if we have no deal, then status quo remains. You cannot take over Adani. So TJ, I want to bring you back in on this issue. What aspect of how do you feel we Kenyans can bring out our displeasure with this in a way that respects the court, but in a way that draws the attention of the people that Kenyans really do not want this deal because of what he said about public participation and everything?
No, Tony, I think, first of all, there is a lot of misinformation in the public because of the loss of, so far, of, for example, the housing levy case, the problems that have been encountered with the electrical case of Kentraco, the problem that, for example, has happened with the National Health Service, you know, the social, what they call it, health service. Now, the reason I'm raising these issues is because I get a lot of messages on my timeline. Mr. Gashoka, please deal with the NHIF issue, the extension of parliament. Please include this in your court cases and so on. And I want to explain to the public that that is my desire. The problem that I have, and I can see Wakili Chalo there, I've tried to give him a speaker. He's doing a lot of good work on the issue of the extension of parliament, and I'll be bringing him in. But one of the things I want to explain is that the work that you do to get a successful petition ready is enormous. This Adani case has taken me probably more than 2 months just to assemble all the documents and the matters surrounding the case. And one of the important things that Kenyans should know is the very important role played by the Secretary General and the workers of the Kenya Aviation Workers Union of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I mean, those guys have been great, led by their SG Moss, because, they themselves had said they would not, and many Kenyans would remember, they were going on strike because of the deal. And they asked for documents and they asked for things to be able to peruse before they could give their way forward. And looking at the documents, the workers in unison agreed that the case was not beneficial, not only to the workers, but to the people of Kenya. As we speak now, the Kenya Aviation Workers Union have got one of Kenya's most prominent lawyers, Friend Gatia, who is representing them within the petition. And they and I are speaking the same language. So what I am saying is, by the time you can build that kind of coalition, get the kind of information and evidence that come together to put a petition that can succeed. Because if you look at the petition defeated now on the housing levy, which was defeated in the Court of Appeal, is because when it goes to rigorous scrutiny, you must know our case of Jomo Kenyatta will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And therefore, you need to be thorough and careful and so comprehensive so that there is no opportunity later that you would have lost the petition because you are not ready. So, Tony, there is a lot of work, a lot of effort that goes to construct a petition. And the government of William Ruto has been very clever about one thing. By manipulating the use of the PPE, the private partnerships, they do not advertise. They do not include the issue of public participation because this thing is done through invitation in secrecy. So by the time the documents are being done, very few hands and very few eyeballs have been on these proposals or these contracts. So by the time whistleblowers come out, the matter has gone to the point of no return. And it becomes impossible, if not very difficult, to be able to get the documents, go to court, get conservatory orders, and then challenge the matter because of the secrecy. And in a suit, It includes suing the party. I mean, with Adani, we had to serve them all the way in India. You have to serve this party, you have to serve that. If I were to challenge anyone on this space today, go and find Adani's office in Kenya. Where would you find it? And that is why I'm saying that to have the success we've had in the Adani case is because of the amount of effort and work that's done. And I am confirming to Kenyans that out of 10, the likelihood of Adani, getting that airport outside this case and outside this petition is zero. He will have to succeed in this petition to be able to go forward because we've been able to arrest the situation beforehand. Tony?
Thank you, JJ. But I'll also make a confession. We seem, even I on my part, you get people telling you, Tony, talk about shift, try and take us to go through this. To give you a solution as our listeners, as we try and sort out the issue with the mics, what we need to get to an agreement is that we need to be very methodical in how we do our things. So the question is, now you want us to deal with shift. Are you ready to put in the work? Because it's a lot of paperwork and it's a lot of meetings and it's a lot of you really anchoring down and saying, we as a team are handling shift and nothing else but shift. So if Kenyans can really come up and say, okay, organizers in this format, this group will be handling shift, another group will be handling Ruto comes up with issues for this country every day. So what we need to do is, before he has figured out that we tend to make things #more than take time to organize. So every time there's an issue as Kenyans, let us anchor down and say, now, how do we deal with this issue systematically, lawfully, before we are really out of time? And that is what saved us with Adani, is that as people were reacting, Tony, there was a lot of paperwork being done. Yes,
are people hearing us? Or because I'm noticing I cannot be able to access any speakers. Are people hearing us or the space has been compromised?
No, people can hear. You can actually just request, if you can hear, give me a hand raise. That way you are able to know.
Are you hearing? Can you?
Yes, I can hear.
Huh? Okay, you can hear, but is everyone else? Yeah, because I could see okay, go ahead, Tony. Right.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Ruto seems to have a way of having an issue on the table every day. Now, what we need to do as Kenyans is change how we react to the issues. Instead of us just being purely reactive, we do what we did. Let's have Kenyans do what we did with the Adani case. Immediately he gives you an issue, we try and now look at the legality that was not met, so that we are able to arrest it before it grows. That is how we shall increase our chances of winning. Do we have a team that is willing to help? Yes. But we need to have now people go down, look at the constitution, and try and find out what did they skip? What step was skipped? Because they'll always make a mistake. And we take them to court with that. In short, what we do is we create a filibuster.
Tony, sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting several messages from so many people that they can't get in as though the space has been compromised. Could I just restart the space again?
Sure,
because, there is something wrong with this space at the moment. Let me just restart it again.
No, Tony, before you restart, maybe you can advise people to check the updates. Sometimes it's a mess.
No, because I agree, but because it's me doing it from my own Twitter handle, I can just put one word, Adani, and start a fresh space. Is that better? Because there are people I can't give mics, I can't do anything, and I'm getting messages from my DL, and we've not gone too far.
Have you tried refreshing the space? I mean the app itself.
Okay, I'm not an expert in that. Okay, so can I just go? Everyone is okay.
I can guide you for a second. You just press on the app. You hold. Hapo juu kuna hapo kakitu kanakuja I info circled, and then you press it. unarudi hapo chini, force stop, then immediately unaiambia open, you rejoin. I mean, yeah. Ikikataa, then you can drop it.
Yeah, I think it's just easier because everyone is going to just come back on my space. I think it's just easier. Yeah.
It's okay, you can drop it then.
Yeah, Tony, you are the co-host, so you can continue with the issue as I'm trying to. I see Mweru is trying as well. The absender. Okay, Tony. So continue with the co-hosting. Bring in another speaker as I'm trying to do one or two things here. Can you hear me, Tony?
Thank you, TG. Sorry, I was having some technical issues. Can you hear me now? Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you. You proceed. Yes.
Yeah, now I'm okay. Now I'm okay. So I want to bring in, you can do your mic request now. I think the space is now well. Vincent, if you have a question or comment, you can be making your submission. Vincent? Okay. Vincent, can you hear me?
Tony, I can hear you. What about the next speaker?
There seems to be an issue today, TG, with the space, because now I'm no longer the co-host. So I can't bring in more speakers.
I'm telling you, this has become, I can see you as co-host, but you are saying you are not able to.
Yes, I'm not able. Let me drop and come back in.
Okay. Vincent, can you hear me? Nico, anyone hear me? This space is really a problem today. You can hear me, give 100%? Can you hear me? Oh, good. Maura can hear me. Good. Excellent. So, Vincent, can you hear me as a speaker? Vincent, go ahead. He's also disappeared. Oh my, 1 second. What's going on? Isaac, can you hear me? Isaac, can you hear me? This space has really been compromised. Vincent, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Gashoka. Gashoka, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so you try and give it a go as I try and bring in the other speakers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think this is a technical hitch, and everyone actually goes through this once in a time. So this is my point for those who can hear me. Number one, we are going through a time when so many things are happening at the same time. And one thing, I don't know whether this is by design, that we are going through what we are going through at this particular time, looking at the issues that are in the court, looking at the political situation right now, and even the issue of Adani, and it's not by default that Adani was able to sign several contracts when Kenyans were actually kept busy with the Gachagua thing. And I might say that the guys who are dealing with this, they're very, very smart in trying to, fool us and also take our attention to what is actually happening at the moment. And it's not long that Adani might actually host captive. We might be hosted captive of our economy based off of what is going and what he might actually do, even to other projects that we just don't know what is happening. And here's the thing, I'm getting worried, and here's why I'm getting worried. If the executive is going to get absolute power, I'm sorry, we might not be able to have any form of protest for what is happening, right? And when I mean absolute power is when the three arms of government are all speaking, singing the same tune. And this tells us there is nothing we can do as individuals, and we are on our own. And I was in the other space and I was telling guys, look here, if your member of parliament can make decisions not based off of what you send him to do, then he's not representing you. He's representing other people, other favors that he's actually getting. And to be honest, we had, the judiciary as our only hope, especially during the Maraga period. I had a lot of confidence in the judiciary during Maraga time. But to be honest, this time I'm losing that confidence. And based off of what is happening, even with the filing of cases, I don't support Gachagua in any way of what he says, but the way he's being treated, the way his lawyers are being treated in the court, and with the filing and the procedures that are actually used in the courthouse. I've been following this closely, and I can see there is something going on that it's just about time to happen, right? So what I can say, I know the topic today is about Adani. I know Adani is already here to stay. I mean, he's already here. If he's already signed, we're talking about Ketraco, we're talking about the JKIA, and it's already gone. He's already here to stay, and it's just a matter of time. He's going to take over other, institutions that we have. So we as Kenyans, and you can see when I say the judiciary, the executive has actually held hostage of everyone, even the Raila guy. Right now he comes and sanitizes Adani, and he says that, based off of my experience, Adani has done significant projects even in other areas. So it shows that the only critic who the government was afraid of was Raila. And because now Raila is in their pocket, then you can see it is something that it's already scripted, and they know that, that there is nothing we can do. So here's where we are as Kenyans. And I hope, and even when you're looking about, sorry, I'm jumping from topics to topics, but when we are talking about even the extension, the term limits, they are testing us. They just want to see at what level are we? How can we protest? How far can we go? They're just testing the waters. And it's just a matter of time this is also coming to pass if you're not very careful. So if you haven't signed, I've already signed my petition, not my petition, but my view on the same. If you haven't received an email, if you need to sign this, please send it over to the Senate. I don't know if we can send it to the to the Parliament, but please send it over. Show your involvement, because they are taking advantage of our silence, our ignorance as Kenyans, and things are happening behind the scenes that we will come to regret as a nation. And I'm telling you, the moment they will approve the 7-year limit, oh my God, I'm going to the street with my grandkids, I'm going to the street with my wife, everyone will be on the street, and I'll be sleeping on the street. They'll come take us off from the street because we have just been pushed to the limit. We are right now on the limit. The housing, everything. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ranting right now, but I feel like we are fucked. I'm sorry to use this language, but I'll let other speakers to go on. If your mics are not working, if you can hear me, it means the space is not working. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Asante, Tony, you can hear clearly?
Yes, TJ, I can.
So very quickly, for the purpose of the last speaker, I think some people didn't get my brief on Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And I want to be very brief in terms of, because I'm undertaken to give a report. I appeared in court on the 22nd at Milimani High Court, and the case was coming up for directions. Unfortunately, our lawyers were not available because they had been dragged in to the Gachagua matter. But luckily, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa were able to attend court on behalf of the petitioners for the airport. And during the hearing of the case, the following 3 things were confirmed. One, that the Law Society case, which comes up on the 25th, continues to enjoy conservatory orders, maintaining the status quo at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and that the application that will come before the court on the 25th will be an application seeking to increase the bench to 3, and therefore it is unlikely to affect the conservatory orders. And the judge, therefore, on that basis, asked us to come back on the 11th of November 2024, when we will be making a fresh application to have another conservatory order or consolidate the case with the LSK one, so where there is already an existing conservatory order, and we can also do our petition before the 3-bench judge. So in that way, we hit two birds with one stone. And therefore, I'm confirming to Kenyans that the status quo at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at the moment is that everything is as though Adani had not come. And that is why I wanted to correct the last speaker. The airport is different from what has happened with the Kitrako or what has happened with the SHAF, the health service. And I was trying to explain to earlier listeners that one of the most dangerous things the Ruto regime is doing is to introduce a very little known apparatus in government called PPP, which means that everything they are doing, they do not advertise. They invite a single source and they go and start negotiations, enter a contract. By the time the public know, it's too late to go to court. The luck we have as Kenyans about the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is many whistleblowers, including Nelson from the Netherlands and the rest, were able to blow the whistle ahead of time. And it has taken me more than 2 months to build a proper petition because of the amount of evidential material that you must put in a petition for it to be successful. Because if you just file a petition that cannot be argued up to the Supreme Court, its chances of survival are gone. What I can guarantee Kenyans is 2 things. Number one, the petition that we have filed is airtight. It is world class. It is a petition that Adani cannot win, as we have filed it. Secondly, Kenyans are unaware that a critical player in helping in this petition and even participating has been the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, who are also parties. We have joined them in the petition as an interested party, and they have appointed one of Kenya's top lawyers, Fred Ngatia, to represent them. So in this petition, the people of Kenya, the people or the workers of the airport, and the petition sponsor myself are all on one corner against the Adani group and the government. And therefore, kwa hali na mali, we are with them, including a strike option. So there are so many things which exist, but they exist because we are going through the legal aid procedure. But on the Adani Jomo Kenyatta Airport, I can confirm that we are ahead of the government strategies. And I can confirm, instead of competing with the LSK, it is better for us to consolidate the matter so we can enjoy the protection of the conservatory orders they already have, as we prosecute now the case on the constitutional questions, which mean there was no public participation, there was no approval of parliament, and so on and so forth. And all those things are contained. Finally, I want to use this forum to thank the Association of Workers of the Airport. I also want to thank Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa for stepping in, because we were in a really difficult place on the 22nd, because the 2 key lawyers, Ndegwa Njiru and Kibe Muigai, left me alone and went to the Gachagua case, and we were really exposed. But the court could have easily dismissed our petition for want of prosecution. But Kalonzo is no longer a watermelon. That I asked him about that thing, and he told me that watermelon name came from Raila Odinga, and who is now the watermelon. He tells me, TG, I'm a straightforward guy. Anyway, he showed up in court. Anthony?
TG, thank you. I think for the sake of the listeners who are not here, let me just give you a chronological event of what happened. So in the morning, Tony Gashoka sent me the letter saying that we don't have lawyers. And we were like, okay, so who else is mentioned? Who else can represent us? And that's how Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamala came up. So at 9:50 thereabout is when Tony asked Kalonzo, we're in court today and we don't have lawyers. And Kalonzo was like, okay, I've not practiced for some time, but I'll go to court. So when we say he saved the day, that was how that day was saved. He was in court, and that really saved the case. So that's a part that I felt people needed to know. That's how we ended up with Kalonzo and Eugene representing us and actually making our case hard on that day in terms of the judge telling them what the next step will be. But on the other hand, we are in talks with another legal team that is coming in, and we shall be briefing you once we have all that settled. But they will use the same material that we had already filed. So Daniel, just before Daniel comes in, the previous speaker, Isaac, said about what he's talked about, the 7-year term limit, and how Kenyans need to file their petition against that particular motion in parliament. one of the things I'm noticing going forward, TG, and this is my last point, is that most Kenyans don't know how to. So they need like a template. So for us to be able to be solving problems on our spaces is a few of you can come up with a template. I'll not say one person. We need like several templates. So that now when you're telling Kenyans this is how you can show that you don't support a particular bill, use this template. Now, one person can be, or we can use the email
Tony,
and all that.
Tony, I'm not interrupting you, but I want to come with a solution on this term limit issue. I wanted to suggest if we can have, I can see Murray Box is on and so on. I need somebody to help me with this. If we can have a petition, because anything you do in the Senate, in my view, is a nullity, because the Senate is, the numbers are all with these people. I'm not saying don't go ahead and send all those things, but we need a plan B. And like we did with the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, what I was thinking, if somebody could draft a petition so that I can be able to put an online petition, I can help to improve it. But if we could do a petition, then I would want to go back to Kalonzo and I would want to ask him, you know now where these matters are reaching, we are reaching a point where all hands have to be on deck. And I would like to undertake that on the issue of extension of parliament, although I'm really exhausted on the Jomo Kenyatta International one, I'm prepared to launch a second petition on this matter at the High Court. A lot of work will need to go on it, and I don't want to hog the space because I want to hear other speakers. But in terms of offering a solution, there can be no solution in Ruto's Senate or in Ruto's Parliament. We must fight this thing in the public like the way we've done JKIA, to the point that I'm a Ogopa. I can tell you, even the lawyers of government who come to the court like on 22nd, when they come, they see Tony Gashoka, they see Wamalwa, they see Kalonzo, even the judge is scared. Because they have been dealing with lightweights, and this is one of the things with these abductions and Ruto's impunity is because we have not been calling on some experience. We need to change our strategy. Our country is disappearing as people knock and bang their chests. This is a time to call the old and the wise to join with the young and the agile, so that we can be able for the first time to look at Ruto can see Kalonzo is my equal. So when he sees Kalonzo on a matter like Adani, he's not looking at it as though he's just looking at nobody. So I would rather, and I'm seeing Kenyans are beginning to change their mind about the need to come together. Because if we don't, we are going to lose everything. These guys in parliament, they remove Gachagua in 2 days. Are you thinking they will not extend their term of 7 years? They will extend it as we are here arguing. But if you give me a petition, I can ring Kalonzo and I can tell him, can we ban this petition in the High Court? Go ahead, Tony.
Tony, sorry to interrupt. I think if you go on Omkia Omtata's timeline, he has a really, really good petition. Actually, that's what I used. He has a great template. So you might just want to look at it if it can be edited, or if you can use it as a way to create an online platform where everyone can, something that is accessible to every Kenyan, because that's what you're lacking. I think that will be a great study.
If you DM me, so because I've been because just of the volume of work on the Jomo, if you can DM me and I send you my number, or Tony Mureithi, just send
that right away.
Yeah, please do it right away. And in fact, all I want to do is if we can, in fact, I saw Charlo the Wakili was here and he disappeared because he was telling me that he could draft me even a draft petition, because all I can give it to the senior lawyers to improve it, but I don't have enough knowledge of, we need to construct something. So if we start a petition that we can put online, then on the basis of that and an affidavit, I can get a law firm to put a petition and have it by Tuesday next week in the High Court. And that's like we did, so that we have two avenues of fighting. We go to the Constitutional Court and call it unconstitutional for want of public participation. But I need people to help me with the work. So anyone who can offer, including the last speaker, please DM me or Tony Mureithi, and I move very quickly so we can help each other.
Tony, morning. Sorry, it's morning here. I was just waking up, and I've been trying to follow the cases, and I followed the previous one and now this one, and I'm sorry to hear about what happened with Ndegwa and Kibe. But I'm pretty sure we'll come up with something. I appreciate your effort. I see Nelson is here. I also appreciate his effort. I appreciate everybody's effort. Everybody, let's all do our part. If you have a way you can help in this, let's do it. Let's not just talk and talk and talk and not be of action. So I'm so happy to see that we're actually fighting this Adani thing, because I believe it's despicable that this government can make us look like a bunch of idiots that need people to come and run our country for us. We're not going to accept this. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I live in the US and Kenyans run almost, we come here, we take over, we run. What do they mean we cannot run our airport? No, we let's keep fighting, and we're here to support you, Tony, and your team, and we appreciate every single effort you and your team are putting in and sacrificing your time, because this is what we need at the moment, and this needs to be teamwork. It needs to be teamwork. Everybody here can help with this. We have something we can do, and you need to find out what you can do. That is all. That's all I was going to say at this moment before we start.
Yeah, and where do you can see Nelson. Tony, can you see Nelson? I had wanted him also to come on.
No, Gigi, I can't see him. But if Vero can see him, you can send him the mic.
Yeah, I just sent him the mic. But we do need to.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to explain. If you look at my timeline, you will see the letter. I don't know if you understood when I was briefing everybody what shocked us on the 22nd. And I just wanted to show you how the politicians are selfish. Gashagua's case was coming up, and the lawyers who are handling the matter on our behalf wrote a letter to the Deputy Registrar of the High Court to say they can't be available on the 22nd, and went and joined the Gachagua case. And it was shocking. But I got Mheshimiwa to come as an emergency because the matter was at 11, and we were able to preserve, and I explained that we are working together with the Law Society because they already have conservatory orders, and we have been given a date of the 11th of November. But I have no longer any more concerns because our court acknowledge the orders of the LSK will remain, and therefore they will be enforced before we make our application for consolidation, so that we don't need duplication of conservatory orders.
I really apologize for this. So I gave Nelson the mic. At the moment, I know we had other speakers lined up, but if you could just bear with us briefly. Nelson, please go ahead, and if you have something you want to say in addition to what they're talking about, go ahead. It doesn't look like Nelson can hear me. So Josephine.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, and Anthony as well. And good evening, fellow Kenyans. Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are from your timelines. Yeah, thank you so much, TG, for the good job that you are doing. We really appreciate. And I really appreciate at least what you are doing. It's a great thing that I can say. I know somebody can get to a panic mode, especially when you realize that you are in court and you do not have a lawyer. You don't know how to go about it. But one thing I can certify is that anytime you have a shortcoming of a lawyer and you realize that you don't have anyone to arrest you, always respond to your case. Because we always have that opportunity, and I've done that severally, and I've won at least around 9 cases against the government. That's as an individual without a lawyer. So I know it's done, it's doable. It's only that when you are not prepared, it can hold you by a shock. But take courage. Next time, just be composed, be ready, know your case, and whenever you realize that you are disappointed with the lawyers, just appear in person. Let the court know that they need to give you time, and that's the position at that particular moment. You choose whether you are going to represent yourself or you get another lawyer. That always the court does listen, and that does give you that opportunity to do what is needful, as long as the case has not recurrently repeated or been adjourned several, more than 3 times, and also it being on your side. Because it could have been adjourned more than 3 times, but it's on your opponent's side, then that does not affect you as well. So thank you so much for
Josephine, it's okay, but I don't want to overspeak on this matter. But take it from me when I say it was a serious problem. Let's leave it there, because it was a really serious problem, because the conservatory orders are the only things that can preserve JKIA. Adani and the government want to move in yesterday, and the LSK matter is coming for a ruling. And the moment their conservatory orders expire, the country is exposed. And therefore, that was necessary to be done. But I'm saying there was no problem, because it's not that I panicked. It's that I was able to call Kalonzo and Eugene, and they were able to do their work. It's just the misconduct of lawyers. And I don't want to go beyond that, because I published the letters on my timeline of how they behaved. And as Tony has told you, we are going to change our lawyers. Go ahead, Tony, or Mweru.
Yeah, thank you, Josephine, for your contribution. I mean, this is my request for everybody that...
That was my first point. Yeah, I was just saying that it's doable. So thank you so much for the good job. However, again, we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans, if the government is giving out everything to other private sectors to actually own our country and even our parastatals, then why are they collecting taxes from us? So we need to see there are so many loopholes in our country, and there are many things that we need to do. However, I'll be also joining you, Anthony. I will see whether I can manage to do something, and then we'll be joining together also in the same petition. I really appreciate. I'm committed to that, and I'm still working on the document. Once it's ready, I'll also be joining you. Thank you so much, and may God bless you for the good job you are doing for our country. Fellow Kenyans, let's stand up for our nation. Let everybody know that we are getting into shit, and we should not allow this to happen to us. Keep on asking yourself several questions, and what can you do? Do the little that you think you can do. Even that what you think you cannot do, you can do it once it's joined with another idea from another person, and we can all succeed. Wherever there is a will, there is a way. That's what I can say. Otherwise, thank you so much, Tony, and for the good job. We really appreciate. Tell Kalonzo Musyoka and Wamano, we really owe them a high esteem for also accepting to take up the matter without preparation. We are really grateful as Kenyans. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Josephine. I mean, that is what I was going to request everybody on the space. Whatever little you can do, please join the team and help us fight for our airport. Even if you have any legal expertise, even if you're good with investigating, you're good with typing, whatever you're good in, analyzing documents, everybody's efforts need to be on board in this. So, I mean, Nelson, if you have something to say, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'll have Marapu, then Nothing, KE, and then Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, for the work you're doing, and thank you everybody who is involved in this petition, and thanks for hosting the space as well. I just had a few things to say, and I would like also for you guys to add CPM Mwangi to the speakers panel, because I wanted him to speak about the PPP Act, because there is a controversial thing that is happening to this PPP Act. There is a PPP Act of 2013, and every act has regulations. So for the PPP Act of 2021, which is being used by the government to, enter into all these PPP projects, does not have PPP regulations. So basically what is happening is that there was a PPP Act 2021, which was an update of the 2013 one, but there is no regulation to go with it. The regulation has been delayed by design It was supposed to be signed last year, it wasn't, and then this year it was supposed to be signed, but hasn't been signed. Everything is ready, but the regulations are still not signed. So what is happening is that they're illegally using the regulations of 2013, which is illegal and unconstitutional. So maybe this one is something that can be taken up in court, and probably if we look into more details, we can even go as far as tell the court to declare the PPP Act of 2021 unconstitutional, so that we can go back to the PPP Act of 2013. And then the second point that I want to say is that we need to go to court so that we can ask the court to remove this. There is 4 ways of public procurement, and one of them is the PIP. So maybe we need to go and discuss in court whether we need to remove this framework from the procurement framework of public procurement, because it has too many loopholes. So lawyers in the house, the ball is on your court to check it out. We can gather PPP experts, because you have to have some kind of certification to be able to be an expert in PPP, and lawyers, and then we can look at these acts and see how we can file a petition in court to see if we can make this PPP Act of 2021 go away and remove, this nightmare of PIPs from our backs.
And so, Nelson, before you go, just stay on. That is very important. What I was going to ask, I think I sent Mweru the amended petition on the Jomo Kenyatta case. And if she could share it just with you and any other lawyer who wants it, because we are asking several constitutional questions. And in fact, why we amended the petition was to include that new directorate or PPP. And I think the petition covers it entirely, but it will be very important for people to look at this petition, because first of all, it's a people's petition. Although the plaintiff is Adani and the Treasury, we are seeking certain declarations, constitutional declarations. May it be easier for people to have access to this petition and read it and add or have any comment that they want, including any submissions that can be prepared by way of authorities and other things like that. Because the petition, actually, the more eyes on it, the easier, Nelson.
Yes, this is a very good idea. Yeah, you can make it public for us to be able to access it, and we can work on adding these comments to the petition.
Mweru, do you undertake to get that to Nelson?
Yes, I will. And now that I have Nelson here, just so you know, people who are on the space, in case you're not aware, that he's being sued. He's receiving a lot of lawsuits. So if there's a way you can help support him financially, I don't know how to get the money to him. Please just let's be open to assisting him, because come on, if it wasn't for him being so bold, and we won't be even having this conversation.
There's another thing that Nelson sent me the other day, which is to always remember to congratulate the workers of the airport. And I want to say that when he's here, that without the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, MOS, and then the Secretary General, a lot of this success of securing the airport would not have happened.
Yeah, we need to support them, and Mos Ndiema is a very solid guy. What most people do not know is that Uhuru Kenyatta jailed him for 1 week because they were against the Greenfield terminal. So he has salt in the game, and I was speaking to him and I asked him, "Have you been paid? Why did you go to State House?" So he was a bit mad at me.
So Nelson, the very good news is that he's now appointed one of Kenya's top lawyers, friend Gatia, is representing the workers, and they are parties in our petition. So in other words, we are on one side with the workers, and that's great.
Exactly. So he's a solid guy, and his family behind this push to reject Adani.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Marabox, go ahead, and then we'll have Nothing KE and Danielle. I have a lot of speaker requests, so let's try to be brief if you can.
Yeah, greetings, Mweru, Tony, and all the members of Point Blank family. Saturday, I think I saw news of our friend Gaito being arrested. I've not heard anything that has come out of that. So please, in case you have any information on that, please just let us know. Back to the points what Tony made. Tony, I have submitted 2 memorandums this week, the petition on the critical infrastructure, and I also did the one on the protests. The one on the critical infrastructure was easy because I just went to the website for the interior, and they had a questionnaire sort of, and you just had to fill it out. The most interesting thing that I saw there was that you have to leave there your phone number. You cannot leave the phone number bit blank, but we just give what we have to give. The one for the interior I'm seeing is not structured, so you can just follow what Okiom Tata did. But apart from that, we're also creating a database whereby we have various sample petitions that you can log into and get them. And I think also Mweru, with your help and having them on your timeline would be very helpful, so that anybody who feels like they want to make a petition, especially to Senate and to the National Assembly, can just get a draft from your timeline and just modify it and change maybe the names, the telephone number, and the ID bits, but have almost the same information, because it has to follow a certain structure. Secondly, I think for the lawyers, they are becoming very, very unpredictable. We have seen LSK take a back. These days, they don't come when people are arrested. It's very hard to see LSK coming. What I heard about what happened to Tony is very unfortunate, because sometimes we depend on these people, not just as lawyers, but also as friends. And if you leave something of national interest like JKIA and you go running after, chasing after the wind because of one person losing an office, it really doesn't make sense unless it really had a lot of money to do with it. And when you talk about money, I've had an issue of over 5 billion spent on regarding impeachment. And I think when lawyers hear money, then they follow the money. And it's very unfortunate that Tony had to really, but also on a lighter note, it's really nice because right now then Kalonzo Musyoka has actually shown himself as the person to go to when we really need him. And let me also take this time to thank Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa for coming through on this time, because when Kenyans call upon leaders, the people who show up are the people we work with. We don't have favorites, we don't choose. So whoever comes to the table.
Maribox, I wanted you to stay on that issue, because on the issue you're raising on the extension of parliament and the interior issues, I wanted to ask, because if we can give a brief to Kalonzo and those groups, because all you need is a megaphone. We are not in politics. There are no elections at the moment. But the problem is, I know Okiom Tata well, but he's a lone ranger. You know, he does things, and, you know, if they succeed or fail, you don't know until you read it in the newspaper. What I'm saying right now, I can do with this forum, and that's why I'm so excited to see Nelson here, because when Nelson got involved in this, I got involved. And then when I got involved, Eugene got involved. When Eugene got involved, Kalonzo got involved. You know, and the more we are all hands on deck, that is why we've got Root on the run. So I'm saying, if we approach the extension of the term and the same way by building a coalition, instead of this, you know, Lone Ranger tactics you've seen even within the Gen Z movement, Marbox?
I understand, and that is exactly why we need wise elders like yourself to really advise, because even if I send my petition to Parliament, how will I know that it was received? I get no acknowledgement. I just see the sent. But if we have these concerted efforts by especially our elders and people who have done this before, and I like it when you bring such an idea. But I would like us to go through.
And remember, Wiper has got about 10 senators. You know, they've got Manzo, who is a lawyer. They have Wambua. You know, Kalonzo has 20 members of parliament. He has got people in the Senate. It's just that we need to... Anyway, go ahead.
Yes, and you also realize that the judiciary has become very defensive. You see what Judge Muilu did the other day. So we also want somebody who the judges can respect. And Kalonzo, Eugene, and all these people come with that authority, which any courts in Kenya can listen to. So I really, really applaud that idea, and we are going to push on through it. So if we can find a way to push our samples through Mweru, because I don't want to really bombard your DM, Tony, because I'm sure you're a very busy man and we don't want you to be receiving like 100 messages in a day. So we can use Mweru. She can filter what she feels like important in terms of petitions and the samples. And the most important, she sends it to you or maybe Tony, and so that you get what is workable. Because also I've seen so many petitions which also fall short of the requirements of Parliament. Lastly, Tony.
But do the last one for the 7-year term. That one is very urgent. That one you can send her so that I can get the Wiper senators not only to reject, but to help take in what has been sent by the public, so they can then voice it, even if they are in the minority. They can make sure that our voice is heard in the Senate and in the media.
Right away. That will be done right away. I've seen the advocate Charlo also had a sample. I'm going to share that one. Tony, thank you for taking time from your holiday in Diani to come and defend Kenyans. And I urge you to really put effort on it. Keep on grinding, no matter the obstacles that will come on the way. And also know that we are with you, because you are with us. This is a fight for all Kenyans, and we shall not tire on this road. So I'm going to send the petitions, the ones I have right now, to Mweru, and she can see what she can do with it. And let me also thank Nelson for what you've done. You might not know it, but you're a hero in Kenya right now. And you will know this one day when you children write songs and sing songs about Nelson, the person who blew the whistle on JKIA. So we are with you. On November 11th, we will be together and see what the court will make of this. Thank you very much for the time. God bless.
Yeah, thanks, Marable. Just go ahead and send me the anything.
Tomorrow, I think we can bring in Daniel. It was nothing KE, then Daniel.
Hi, everybody. As usual, I always start by saluting our comrades who paid the ultimate price, the wounded, the injured, and Kenyans at large. I'd like to thank everybody who's hands on deck on this particular case. Tony, thank you and your team. And the other Tony and Moiro, I remember where the inception of this issue started. Sorry for the hiccups. I just wanted to add that there are lawyers who are sworn to the bar, and they're not practicing, but they're very willing to plug into issues like this. Like there were some who, I remember the day they were sworn to the bar, ended up getting involved to release comrades who had been arrested. So if you can reach out to LSK, I'll try and do that as well and plug them to you. They can help you with clerical work in terms of filing the cases and digesting them for you. Another issue.
Let me interrupt you there, because I want to interrupt you there. I really need your help there, because I've spoken to friend Gatia, and he has told me that we must be very careful on the next farm that we choose. That would be very helpful, because we have until the 11th to go for the most important case, as Mara Box has said. So I would like by next week to have decided on a farm and lawyers to appoint where we have public confidence. You remember Ndegwa Njiru has been on these spaces with me several times. By the time I instructed him, I had every confidence that this would never happen. Why I published the letter for everyone to read in the timeline is I was shocked to see somebody of his stature and Kiba Muigai writing to the deputy registrar of the court that they can't represent JKIA because they are going to the Gachagua case. It made me suspicious, because if you can't handle a case, you tell your client, so you make other alternatives. But on that day, they did it. So if you give this case to somebody, as you say, who is not sworn to the bar and the country, they can sell us out. And after all the risks Nelson and everybody has taken, I feel a public debt to be very careful. I'm doing this in the public trust. So go ahead, but please know that I need DMs of people who can help in the legal issues so that I can talk to them when we are not in the space, so they help me make a right decision in the next few days. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to highlight is Wakili Chalo every day shares out these petitions and the bills that they are trying to pass in Parliament. And I've pointed him to Wanjiro because the last 2 days I was a bit held up, and Wanjiro has been holding spaces on those particular issues. Wakili Chalo, by the time he shares with you an issue, he's already drafted it in summary such that if you're going to sign, say, opposing the term limit, he makes it easy for you. He makes sure that the document is not amendable, because the first time we were trying to fight the infrastructure issue, some people are able to amend the document. So now when he shares them, he makes sure that they're not amendable. Because I think Parliament was trying to change the document to state as though people were supporting what they were doing. And then, so people are only supposed to sign, and then the link is supposed to collect the information and you can oppose it. So yeah, I'll plug you to Wanjiro. She's been spearheading that on Spaces, and maybe KOT, you can help her on highlighting these issues, so that we don't leave anything behind. We are falling through the cracks of the mess they are creating on a daily basis, because as people are focused on one thing, they keep spewing more trouble for the nation. Thank you for committing to safeguard this Adani JKIA issue. I look at it from the point of border security, that we cannot relegate to a foreigner. And I don't like when people say that such infrastructure has been given to foreign firms before, because what they're giving us is actually not value for money. Another thing on PPP, which is private public partnership, the government is required to share, to have public participation on such issue. So they're just taking a shortcut, and especially because they came up with this intention to remove conflict of interest when it comes to government project, which is another hole they're digging us into. We support you. Let us know how else we can support, so that we don't end up losing JKIA. We salute you. We thank you. I'm sorry about the disappointment, but I would like to warn you, it can happen with any lawyer. It can happen with any lawyer. Very few of them will be committed to the letter. So prep yourself and probably stretch your option. I salute you for this commitment. I thank everyone. And we are here to support you. I yield the mic so that we can have other voices. But thank you, everybody, for this.
Moiro, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Nothing. Thank you so much, and thank you for your volunteering and offering to help.
So we can have Daniel, then Fabish, then Sophia.
Hello. You can hear me, right? Because there was some chaos starting when she was talking, when nothing was talking. Now, before I start, I'm going to ask that you guys let me finish, because I'm going to have 2 questions, and they're very important that I finish all of them, so they can be a very nice package, yeah? But you can answer the questions in a very nicely neat way. Even if the question will jump, the answer will jump at you, especially Tony, because I know the answer to the first question will jump at him immediately. So let me just finish so you can answer them, and even the legal minds here. The first question is, with this case right now, what is if a case is won, what is the extent of the restriction? Like what is the extent of what we will protect? Not just the airport. Is it going to extend to other assets, brick and mortar assets like the port? What is the extent of the reach of the restriction we're going to get if we win this? And the second question is there any way we can tweak the current petition, or use the wins from this petition to then create a petition to protect other assets that we are not even thinking? Let me give you an example. There's a president in this SADC countries, is it Namibia or I can't remember the exact country, that ended up selling 25% of the landmass of his country to a UAE company. He sold 25% of the landmass. With these financial instruments that are being created around climate change, he ended up actually giving up 25% of the entire landmass of the country, and I'm hearing he might even extend it. Now, is there any way we can use the wins for now? Because when we all know our president is all about this carbon credit stuff, and there's a lot going on behind carbon credits with the land that we have, the national parks and all these things. Now, is there any way we can use that as a new front, or is it what we have now? Can it be used to maybe fight that battle after later? I'm good.
Was that question for me? So let me just quickly say.
Yeah, Anthony, I'm done.
Okay, let me quickly say this. William Ruto is actually a sophisticated criminal, because this is the entire matter that Nelson broke. You know, this PP Directorate of Private Public whatever was created so that you don't have any information. Remember that you cannot make a petition without evidence. You cannot make a petition without documents. You cannot make a petition from just the newspaper report. And why they made this issue of PPP is because the government invites a single-sourced individual, kept in secret and mostly done abroad, so that at the point of signing, they have not told Parliament, they have not advertised, and nobody knows. So by the time they are signing and you're aware, even if you go to court, the judge will ask you, where do you have this information? Now, if I can now speak about it because I couldn't speak about it before. When Nelson and everybody started this whistleblowing, some of us went undercover. And Mweru was the first person who was beginning to talk about getting the Adani background information. And so we decided to go into in a different way. The airport workers went on strike, and Kenyans forget. And they said we are not going back to work until all the documents are given to us. That was the first tranche of documents that we were able to get, because the government had to give the union by law those documents so that the union could agree. That was the first crack in the matter. And the other cracks of the matter I don't want to talk about but if we talk in a different forum, I will tell you. But then it took about 2 months to build a case about JKIA. I can tell you without fear of contradiction, even with the way the lawyers misbehaved, the petition is filed. And the petition, I added, in the public interest, I added certain other individuals so that the matter qualifies as a matter of public of interest. That means we added, for example, Wiper Party, we added Jubilee Party, we added the DAPK Party. All these were added as petitioners so that it is not Tony Gashoka on his own, that Wiper has 3 million people, that this one has. So the court is going to be looking at the petition as a Kenyan petition. So I did not want to hog or own the petition. My idea was that we make it a public document so that even when a judge is looking at the weight of the issues being asked, and then of course, in addition, we have the workers. So why I'm emphasizing on the JKIA deal is we need a win against Ruto. And I can assure you we are going to have a win on this matter. And if we take one win, let's say, for example, we just defeat Adani in this case, and certain constitutional declarations are made against him, because the petition is sustainable, because it has been well researched and well packaged. We can use that to blacklist him, even in other cases he already may be doing or already being awarded. We can actually use the JKIA win to nullify or to bring back to court, question other issues, because by that order of the court, he will be blacklisted, because among the prayers and other things we are asking for in the petition will be, who is this man? And we are discussing his conduct, including in Malaysia and in other countries where he's been banned. And Mweru has agreed to share this petition. I think the time has come. Anybody willing to have this petition, it's now a public document. Please ask Mweru for a very comprehensive document that we put together, notwithstanding the fact that I need to change the lawyers. And I don't think the lawyers were disloyal to the petition. It's just that this Gachagua man and the money that is going around, I don't know what happened. I was just shocked to see them leave a petition at the hour of need. But anyway, the petition before they left, particularly Kibe Muigai, who is an expert in public law, he did a very, very good job. So the petition is there and it is solid. And if we win one thing against Ruto, it will give us a stimulus and the content of orders to be able to go about the other issues and unearth and unmask Adani.
And also, Tony, I was asking, can we also, after this, as we forge forward, can we also think about the stuff I said, especially the land and also the port and all these other things that we might not think? We can kind of like encompass them, even for Kalonzo especially. He can use that as a rallying call. Be like, okay, fine, I'm also here to protect the resources of the country. I'm not just a politician. I think he can even use that in a political sense to kind of like drive the minds towards it. So that we're also thinking, this person is not just here for, we can actually see him, I think he should also pick that up as a way, like we also have these other assets. And we can be able to protect them. I mean, people are not aware. I think even for Kalonzo, if he's listening here, he can try and use that, in a political way.
I'll tell him the recording in the morning, but I can't agree with you more because I saw the change in the court when he stood on his feet. There is that respect. There is that, seriousness that he's adding to what Nelson and his team and all of you in your prayers have done. I think there is a place for that kind of face. To kind of make the courts take the thing seriously.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, Fiji. Thank you, Daniel. Fabish?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Fabish.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much, TG, Mweru, Nelson, Anthony, and everyone. I don't know even how to thank you, TG and Nelson, our gentleman, that you decided to sacrifice everything and stood up for the country. You are a hero. And also TG, that you take everything and you are battling. I know that you are having a lot of pressure, but notwithstanding the pressure, you say that you are standing with Kenya. I also want to extend my gratitude to Kalonzo Musyoka. He is indeed now showing us that he has interest of this country at heart, because for him alone appearing and standing at the bar to defend the interest of this country is not something to be taken for granted. William Ruto is trying to bombard us with a lot of issues so that we can be diverted and we can lose control. Yesterday, there was another bill, a very critical one, that also should not go unnoticed. It is called Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill. When you study that bill very well, it actually, I think, even emanating from this Adani deal, and also in a way, attacking Chapter 1 and Chapter 37 of our Constitution, because it says that it is going to list, let's say, Parliament, JKIA, Uru Highway, and other infrastructure as critical infrastructure that will be protected and out of bound for everybody to access without authority. Now, it contravenes a lot of chapters in the Constitution, including the rights of information, because it imposes a hefty fine that anyone who, whether journalists or even the whistleblowers, that you solicit information from those critical infrastructure, the fine will be, or even maybe you demonstrate in those spaces, you will be fined for up to 10 to 15 million or 10 years in imprisonment or both. Yesterday, we were in another space and there was a wakili that also we tried to give out our memorandum. and yesterday 5 o'clock was the deadline. We don't know how it is going to go forward in the Senate. So TG, I hope also that you will get notice of this and follow up, because if this one go through, then we are done as a country. This is going to take us back to Moi era.
I don't want to speak a lot because I want others to contribute, but I undertake that I will talk to Kalonzo in the morning, because I think we have about 8 senators. I can't remember how many who is kind direct to help us with this matter. I think there's Senator Wambua, Senator Manzo, I can't remember, but from Ukambani at least we've got about 8 senators already in the House who are wiper. So I'll talk to Kalonzo in the morning and report in the next space.
Thank you so much. Yes, because we have seen now that Ruto is attacking us from every corner. And I want to agree with you, because the fight now that you have decided to take into Ruto doorstep, it is going to harm him. He will later realize that he's committing a suicide by himself. Thank you so much. And thank you also for taking time and update us. We have been waiting for this moment. And this is a big win for the country. Indeed, this is a big win. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fabish. Let's hear from Sophia.
Thank you, Fabish. I want to bring in CPM, KOT, then Sophia in that order.
Actually, no, it's Sophia, then Ryan, then CPM.